very near future. So some of the things that she was talking about is the whole situation around high rises, flats as you call them, apartments as I call them. If you're buying a flat, make sure that, as Juanita said, you have the conversation with your solicitor early. But let me back up. What I would suggest to anybody that's looking to purchase within the next 6 months, start having the conversations now. Don't wait until you're ready to make the purchase to start having the conversations with professionals. Now, again, disclaimer, I am a FCA registered mortgage broker, so I do have a bias, but I would just say bottom line is going directly to your bank for your mortgage will always limit you. I mean, it's just a numbers game. If you go to your bank to get your mortgage, although you may have a good relationship with your bank, and I'm not knocking banks, I'm just saying that all they'll be able to talk to you about is their single product or service. And what you will find is most mortgage advisors that work for banks have a different approach to how they deal with their clients, simply because they are salaried, which is a good thing. But their incentives, especially since all of the issues around banking and bonuses, ever since then they've changed the incentive scheme. So you will have people that is just another conversation for them. Now, as a mortgage broker, as someone who has had the privilege of getting people into their very first home, I think of it as a very serious life-changing thing. As I said, I come at things from a very biblical perspective in most cases, well, in all cases. And I view where you live, where you rest your head, where most of your money goes as a very important thing. Especially if you're going to have children and you're raising a family from that home. We all have fond childhood memories, hopefully, of where we lived, where we grew up. So where you live is going to shape what school your children go to, what friends they have. It shapes their future. So, I take it very seriously. I sometimes take it, it seems, more seriously than my client, by understanding that it's not just buying a property for them. For them, it's where they're going to spend all of their time. For older customers or for older clients, sometimes it's where they will draw their last breath. So purchasing a property is a serious thing. So I would say, if you can find a mortgage broker that you trust, someone that you know, someone that has been referred to you by someone that you know and trust and has used them recently. So yeah, I'm a guy on the radio station and I talk about mortgages and I can do a mortgage for you and I'd love to do that. However, do your due diligence. I want to make sure that you check out anyone that you're going to be doing such a serious transaction with. You should be able to trust them. You should be able to ask them questions. You should be able to make sure that they're the person that you want to work with, because, as I said, purchasing a home is very, very important. And even if it's a second home, even if it's what you're doing as a property investment to make sure that your children have something to inherit, it's still very important. So I would say 6 months in advance, start speaking to a mortgage broker, build a relationship, understand their fees, because mortgage brokers charge different fees and they earn every penny. Every penny that I earn doing a deal for someone, the amount of time that I take to assist someone, I earn every penny. And if you go to a mortgage broker and they don't charge, that's fine too. Some don't charge, but do understand that you have to pay your professionals. Don't cut corners and think that, well, one of the things that happens quite frequently, moving on from the mortgage broker, is the solicitor's fees and paying a solicitor. People try to cut corners on that, and then in America they say you cut corners and you end up buying them. Because what will happen is you'll have someone that says, "Oh, I'm not going to pay this solicitor's fee because it just seems extortionate." Certain fees are pretty much fixed. So a lot of the things that solicitors will charge you for, they're things that they are charged for on your behalf, and then they're recouping the money. And quite often, they'll put a little bit of fat in there for themselves and for admin, etc., and that's fine. But overall, don't pick a solicitor just based on their fees. The scenario that I share, which is a very relevant one, and I've seen it happen, I have solicitors that I work with and I refer. I'm very open and upfront and frank and transparent about the fact people like Juanita are people that I know, that I've known for a while, that operate with an integrity and that do an amazing job. I know people that have purchased homes using Juanita, so I refer people over to Juanita. But then you'll have people like, oh no, I saw on some random TikTok this solicitor, or I've gone to one of the comparison services and I found this solicitor at £700 cheaper or whatever. And then they go to that person, but they forget, especially if you're renting. If you're renting, let's just say your rent is $1,200 per month, right? And because of that, you've gone to a solicitor who is in theory saving you money. But the whole process of purchasing a home is as fast as the slowest person. So let me say that again. The process of purchasing a home is as fast as the slowest person. So you don't want your solicitor to be the slowest person, because that's going to delay the entire deal. That's going to make everything take longer. So if your solicitor is moving slow, or you are working with one of these firms that essentially it's just a dashboard, it's just an app, and they have people that are doing the admin side of things, but they have one solicitor that's dealing with 80 cases, and you are just another number on their dashboard, what that can then mean is you end up paying additional month's rent. So I don't know what number I said before, but let's just say your rent is two grand per month. And then because of this solicitor dragging their feet and being the slowest person in the whole process, you then have to stay in that rented accommodation for an additional month. That's £2,000, right? That is £2,000 real money that it has cost you for the sake of saving £750. So it is a false economy. So make sure you pay your professionals. Make sure you start speaking to a mortgage broker early on in the process, 6 months. If you have nieces and nephews that are looking to purchase at some point in the future, I'll talk to them from now. Or if you don't want them to talk to me, talk to a mortgage broker from now, that they can have the discussion and start to clean up any credit issues, or clean up anything on their bank statement that will prevent them from getting the very best deal. The other thing that Juanita talked about in that clip is she talked about freehold versus leasehold. There will be potentially some revisions to these policies coming up in the next year or so. There have been discussions about doing away with leasehold. So apparently, I think England and I forgot what other territory are the only two territories that still have this process of leasehold, which when I first moved to the UK, I found I just didn't understand leasehold versus freehold. So I'm buying this apartment, but I don't really own it, or I'm buying this house. In most cases, houses are going to be freehold, which is less, it costs a lot less with your solicitors. But what is this freehold thing? Because I'm buying it, so why do I have to then have this other thing where there's only 50 years left or 85 years, and now I have to pay more money to extend the leasehold? So there are conversations happening in the government about doing away with that. We will see what happens with that. We will keep you abreast. I am in an amazing WhatsApp group. Like, I know some people just are in too many WhatsApp group, but I'm in a really good WhatsApp group. In fact, in that clip, the lady that was talking and introduced Juanita was Pauline. I would imagine there's a couple people that are listening right now that are also in the Smart Landlords Property Group. These are the things that it's important to do, to make sure that you are in communities of people that are smarter than you. So that's one thing that I deliberately do. I try to surround myself with people who are smarter than me. So people who I can reach out to when I have a question, people who I trust, people who share the same values as I do.